Alright everyone, welcome back to another Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes video with Fat Phil, and today we're going to kind of talk about resource management, and in particular, how Relic Delta particularly is changing the way you need to be spending resources, how to allocate your crystals, how to make sure that we're mitigating Delta both offensively and defensively. There's a lot of things I've seen so far that I'm going to point out, a lot of areas where I've looked at my account and said, okay, these are the upgrades I need to make to ensure that I'm getting the most out of Delta one way or the other, right? The most mitigation or the most advantage. Again, this is going to be an ever-evolving concept. Relic Delta is still broken in my opinion. There's a lot of it that I think needs to get sorted out by Capital Games. So while it's still bugged, we can at least look at it right now and figure out, all right, what do we need to do? So with that said, folks, appreciate everybody. I'm going to do a big shout to my channel members. I don't have the graphics up right now, but you guys are awesome. I do appreciate it. If you guys could do me a huge solid, like, subscribe, comment. I want to hear your thoughts. I want to see what you guys think. And I hope this helps you navigate this new era of Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes that we're in. So let's talk about it and let's get into our video. By the way, shout out Moonborn for that awesome intro. Been a while since we've given Moonborn a shout. Shout out Moonborn. You are the man. Let's get in here. So the first thing is the assault battles. The Peridia Patrol. I don't think we have Duel of the Fates or Covenant Shadows available right here, up there. But, Peridia Patrol is here. Are these still worth it? I've had a lot of players ask that question. Listen, the more things change, the more they stay the same. These events still are just as valuable. I could argue they're more valuable now because Relic 9 is more accessible. So for some players, they were like, well, I'm going to take them to Relic 7 for like the Remnants and the Poncho Bros because, it's too hard to get Relic 9s. That's no longer the case. So you have much more accessibility to Relic 9s. So your ROI is still there, right? The ROI doesn't change. Like, it's going to take you the same amount of time as it did before. The difference now, because it's that much easier to get these Relic 9s, you'll recuperate those materials naturally through the game. And then these assault battles just become a bonus that much faster to you. So, I think for a lot of players, we've kind of lost that argument of, I don't have enough Relic 9s. You are going to get them so much faster that these events, in my opinion, far more worth it. The refreshes, I don't think are worth it anymore. It's going to be tough because, the argument is the refreshes aren't worth it because these are more accessible, but you also need more of them. So it's kind of one of that classic supply and demand, where the supply has increased, but so has the demand. Has the demand, increased enough that the increased supply, the supply has increased. Has the demand increased enough that it's still worth the 1,000 crystal refresh? I'm not quite sure. If I was going to do a singular refresh a month, I'm probably looking at Ahsoka's event as the one that I would be refreshing, if I'm honest. I think that's the one I'd be aiming for. The Peridia Patrol, the Omicrons are really nice, but I'd rather get the Relic Mats. And similarly for the Duel of the Fates, with that refresh, you're at least guaranteeing getting Droid Brains or Gerda keypads. So I think either one you can't really lose on. You're not going to, again, I think the refreshes there's still value. Is there 1,000 crystals? I'm not sure. I think if I was going to pick just one, I'm probably looking at the Ahsoka one because it does have the most overall potential to be valuable to you with all the various things that they give. So again, the more things change, the more they stay the same. These are still just as valuable, very high priority for Relic 9s. Now, mods. I've talked about this a lot with mods. It's kind of there's like two sides to it. Your mods on characters down here, I have a bunch of Relic 5s, which I have a bunch of Relic 5s here. My mods on these characters are not as impactful. I have some pretty decent mods on Night Sister Spirit, right? We've got some pretty decent secondaries here. They're not as important on a character like her because she is unfortunately Relic 5. So if I'm going up against a higher Relic team, she's getting the negative side of Relic Delta. So at that point, all of these characters, if I'm trying to take them up against a Relic 7 or Relic 9, or above team, the Delta is going to be hurting me more than the mods are helping me. And that's kind of what I've noticed so far with these, is that the mods are only going to help you within that maybe 1 to 2 relic differential. But even to that extent, it's not as impactful as adding an additional relic level or 2 relic levels, right? For characters like this, you're going to get more bang for your buck spending your crystals trying to get relic 7, higher relics on them than you are trying to get better mods. But there, on the flip side, your higher relic characters, it's more impactful to have those mods. Because now you have really good mods in your Relic 9 Ezra. Someone brings a Relic 8 or Relic 7 Drogon, it's that much harder to kill him. You've got really good mods on your Relic 9 Smee, and someone's got a Relic 7 tank in their team, it's that much easier for Smee to delete them. The higher Relic characters are benefiting much more from mods now, in that if they can take advantage both of Delta and better mods, you are that much more successful and going to be that much better off comparative to the opponents you're going up against. And I feel I can say this, I am not doing mod refreshes, and I'd say, well, I'm not the sole authority on mods. You guys know how much I love mods and how much I talk about them. I feel I can say this because I've seen it in my own battles where my mods just cannot hold up to Relic Delta. And let me kind of show you, just the proof that I can say that. So we're going to go to the screen capture here, and we've got the screen capture. All right, let's go here, and let's go to here. All right, so this is my, compare with my entire Grand Arena bracket, right? So there's the entire Grand Arena bracket. If we scroll down, you look at the mod analysis. Now, again, here's your mod analysis. If you look, I don't have the most 6-slot mods, nor do I have the best overall speed secondaries, right? There are some players who have better speed secondaries than me, right? I don't have the fastest mods. I don't have the most 6 dots, but, I'm at least competitive. There's one guy, 162. That's a crazy amount of speed. That's really, really fast. That's some very good speed there. But if you look at the one area where I have the most green, besides Gear 11, it is my offense and defense secondaries. And just to show you how, I'd say, good that is, the next closest person, if you look across, the next closest person is Ruprecht here. They've got 117 4% offense mods. That's the second best to my 199. They have 32 6% offense mods to my 61. So I have almost double the amount of offense secondaries that player does, and compared to everybody else, I have more than double. Then we go to the defense percent. I have 141 9% defense secondaries. If we go across, the next closest person is Rogue Man here with 93 9% defense mods, which is pretty good, right? 93. Then we look at defense of 14%. I have 33. The next closest person is 15, which is, again, Rogue Man. So you just think in the secondary stat department, I feel I can make that argument that they're not as valuable as Delta is because I have the secondary stat advantage in every single matchup here. So I can tell you that it's not helping me as much as extra relics are, which I'm very much feeling the downturn of, because you look at the relic analysis and there's only one player in my entire bracket who has less relics than me. And I think that's the guy who's actually missing Hondo at the moment. So he doesn't have Hondo. So there's one person doesn't have as many relics as me. Everybody else significantly more relics. So that's where we are, right? So again, I feel I can say that about mods, that I'm not doing refreshes because I'm seeing that I probably want to take those and invest them into signal data, invest them into relic mats so I can do better and, have a greater impact in GAC. Now, in terms of kind of mitigating relic delta a bit, right? The thing I'm noticing, because what I had said initially, and I kind of led us wrong a little bit, so now that we've learned, I was like, yeah, you want to get it on your Rey, you want to get it on Ben Solo, right? That's where you want to focus on. But I'm going to tell you that you also, that if you do that, but then you have these Relic 5s here, it's not good. Because what happens is the supporting cast to Rey and Ben gets deleted, and then they get that much easier to then deal with. Now, obviously, this is going down to all right, you have a Relic 3 Star Killer, you're going to get deleted here. But like if I have Relic 7 Star Killer, Relic 7 Malicos, or I have Relic 8s on them, sure, Rey has a positive delta. You know, to me, she's still Relic 9, even a Relic 9 Ben Solo. But those Relic 5s are just going to get wiped off the map. They're not going to do enough. They're not going to have enough impact on the fight. And all those extra relics you poured into Rey and Ben aren't going to feel as impactful to you because the supporting cast isn't in the battle long enough that they're helping you win that fight. So, you know, I think what I would say is, instead of trying to go, all right, I'm going to dump everything into Rey and Ben, get them as high, and then my supporting cast is going to suck, have, you know, and again, I threw Fulcrum in here just because, you know, she's a wreck, but like Relic 7 on Baby Cal, Relic 7 on Barriss, those are far more helpful upgrades. Having them at those Relic 7, you know, potentially going higher if I need to, that's going to help this team more because the supporting cast is going to be around longer to mitigate that delta, keep those things, and let Rey do what she does best, which is punish your team with her, you know, Cal and her healers, all those characters still around to help, you know, win those fights. So this is a big one that I do want to kind of call out and mention of just how impactful that can be. You know, the extra relics on your supporting cast on the whole team is proving to be a bit more beneficial than just investing into like one character. You know, another example would be like my JML. I learned this the hard way where I really had to go hard and put some extra relics into my supporting cast Jedi because they were just not doing anything against the teams I needed them to do it against. So that's just another example where I was wrong. I apologize. As much as you want those on your GLs, you kind of need it on the whole team or else the supporting cast kind of falls apart. And then your extra investment in that Galactic Legend isn't as impactful in the fight. Not that it still doesn't make a difference, but it's not as noticeable as it is if everybody has some extra relics. And the same thing kind of goes for your teams here. A character like Baby Bo, she's a complete liability in this Mandalorian team. You know, you think, oh, if I went up against a Relic 9 team, it's only a Relic Delta of -2. But for Baby Bo, it's a -4. So if they end up hard targeting her or they've got AoEs and she starts dying off or I've got to like baby her, it's a big problem. Right now, this team loses a character that's offering a lot of extra support. You know, she's got a really good unique for extra max protection and recovery of health and protection in her unique. You lose that and you are cooked in this fight. So someone like her, you'll want to put those relics in because she's a liability in those higher relic fights. And kind of on the flip side here, I've got this pirate team with a Relic 9 Hondo and then the, you know, pirates at the relic levels that I needed them for Hondo. In this particular example, in some fights, obviously sometimes Hondo's still just going to do Hondo things, but the delta here, if somebody brings a full Relic 7, it's not Hondo enough. Hondo by himself is not going to be enough that, oh yeah, I'm going to feel okay with the delta here. Like, you'll want the rest of this team to kind of get to that point. And I think the argument I'm going to make here is for your teams, I would kind of try to stick with a delta of plus or -2. So like the argument would be, all right, Hondo's Relic 9 here. I at least want to get this team to Relic 7. You know, now again, Relic 7 being kind of the bare minimum, but you get what I'm going after there. That like, you don't want to have massive swings in teams where, okay, I've got a, you know, Relic 9, I'm trying to think if I have an example of that somewhere. You don't want a, like, oh, yeah, where would be I'm trying to think of a really good team I could use that on, because I've unfortunately done a bunch of extra relics. Here, my Phoenix squad. So, like, I have a Relic 7 Captain Rex, you know, and then I've got 3, 3, and 3 here, right? I need to at least get Phoenix to Relic 5 before you'd even be like, all right, I can take on a Relic 7 team. And if I want to go beyond Relic 7, then I need more relics on these guys. But you don't want, like, it's okay to be like, all right, I can deal with like a -2 delta. But you think, if I take these guys against a Relic 7, that's a 4 relic delta. Sure, Captain Rex and Hera aren't losing that, but Sabine and Kanan and Chopper are, and that's a problem. And now your team starts to fall apart to that delta. So, you know, as much as I was, I think I gotta, you know, eat up a little bit that I was wrong. You know, I thought that, okay, do the key characters of the team. Now that I've seen Delta in action, I feel like I'd rather you invest in the entire team, like get the teams to Relic 7 or Relic 5, rather than have some major swings on your roster, because if that supporting cast falls apart, then you lose the fight simply because it's a, 5-on-3, and now your opponent, even if you've got a little bit of an advantage, they've got 5 characters that they can use to destroy you. So that's kind of how I would be, kind of managing Delta a little bit and spreading out my resources, that I'm not as worried about mods right now as I used to be, because I think it's more important to focus on the Delta. Again, we're still out, jury's still out on the impact of getting these shards versus spending them on signal data. I'm very, very torn on that myself, especially because of some of the more recent fights where I'm like, I just don't know if this is going to play the role that it needs to. But let me know what you guys think. I hope this helps you. I hope it encourages you to make good choices with your relics. Like, subscribe, comment. If you're still watching, Wampa is king in the comments. I love you all. May the force be with you, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers, my friends.